My name is Sarah Glassmeyer, and I am the Director for Data Curation at Legal Tech Hub. I'm joined today by Erik Ruda from AllRize, and he is going to tell us a little bit about his background history, a little bit about AllRize, and then we're going to see a demo of the product.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Great, yeah. So to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in legal technology? How did AllRize come to be?
I've been in technology for 25 plus years at this point, and I started my career in really at the enterprise level, working with large corporate multinational companies creating commercial software to target that market. I spent the first half of my career started programming and then ultimately architecting and doing product management for bringing those applications to market. And then I spent the second half of my career in consulting, really implementing those softwares too. So I've seen everything from creating a product from scratch and then actually looking and seeing the pain points and trying to automate things and create data analytics projects and for the largest companies in the world. And then probably, I think, like we talked about earlier, the probably a familiar model. I have in my family some lawyers who needed technology help around 15 years ago. And on and off, I was helping there a little bit whenever needed. And based on that work that I did, I realized that there is a lot that we were doing in the enterprise space there was a lot that we were doing in the enterprise space that was applicable to law firms. And law firms could really take advantage of a lot of the advancements in technology. I'm sure that you realized or noticed that law firms sometimes can be a little bit of laggards in adopting new technology, which I always say, I try to preface with, I understand why, right?
Oh,
Sensitive
yeah.
information, tight deadlines, there's a lot on the line. So you want to make sure that you trust everything that you leverage. And ultimately, I became a fractional chief information officer, chief technology officer for law firms around the world, mostly in states. But based on that, I created Rise Technologies, which is actually a sister company to AllRize. And it's there for many years that we work with law firms and ran it for the small to medium sized firms. Sometimes we would be the I department. And then for the larger side of the medium to larger firms, we supplement an existing IT department, right? So we specialize in cybersecurity, 24/7 help desk, technology road mapping, those kinds of things. And it's through that experience, along with the experience that I had working at the enterprise level, that I saw a lot of pain points, right? That I think should be easily, I guess depends on how you're looking at who's looking at it, fairly easily to solve a lot of the pain points in the legal space, right? So that's how AllRize was born.
Yeah, I always like practice management software just because it's an interesting vertical because some of them do everything. Some of them do a lot of things, but it's one of those everyone needs it really. Like I also said like everyone needs a practice management software and it just depends on your personal situation what all you need out of it. So what are the kind of use cases or modules that are available within AllRize? How are people using it?
Actually, to carry on what you just said, it's a great point. One of the things that we've seen over the years is that law firms over time select many different technologies, right? So it's not unheard of that we go into a law firm and they have 20 applications used by different practice areas. They don't talk to each other. And a lot of times we mention a software and half the people in the law firm have no idea that they even use it, right? And the other half. So you see a lot of that. And when you think about the enterprise space, a lot of those billion-dollar companies, they have ERPs that allow them to make data-driven decisions very easily. You can see, if you want to ask your systems a question of okay, how much do we make on one specific product, one specific service? How much did it cost to get that client? What's working, what's not from a marketing perspective? It's fairly easy to get that information. And at law firms with all these different systems that are disconnected, it's nearly impossible. And for those that are trying to do it, not saying that anybody doesn't do it correctly, but for most of them, what happens is they try to piece it together manually, and a lot of times it's error prone. They're not really even when they try to do it, you're not getting exactly what you should be getting. So the original idea for AllRize is to really create a legal ERP for law firms so that you can track everything from marketing. So we have currently 5 modules on the platform. So AllRize is built on top of Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and because of all of that, also Copilot is infused in everything that we do. So the modules that we have on there are marketing, CRM, document management, matter management, and accounting. And based on our experience, some firms are married to some applications, right? Whether it be a document management system that they've been using for 20 years and it's no, we can't touch that, and or a matter management or an intake product that they use. And so what we also realized was we need to create an open architecture that anything can plug into, right?
Yeah.
So if they're using another document management system, okay, you can do everything, plug in the document management system, and everything works as if it was natively meant to work that way. That was a big requirement of ours when we set out to architect AllRize. But yeah, those were the modules. We went through the 5 modules, and yeah, and about the product a little bit. The reason why we built on Microsoft was really Microsoft has a huge budget, obviously, probably $30 billion a year they probably spend on R&D. And a lot of that investment goes into Microsoft 365 and Dynamics 365. And now probably the majority of it's going into Copilot, right? So what happened is we architected it in a way where as Microsoft is coming out with new technology, new functionality, it automatically just flows into AllRize. So it's the idea there was to future-proof your technology. So instead of getting a technology application that is always waiting for Microsoft to come out with things and they're trying to integrate it and the integrations are choppy and don't always work that great. The idea there was to, if you can't beat them, join them and really take advantage of Microsoft and all of that functionality that they come out with on a frequent basis.
That's great. So one thing you mentioned, I heard Copilot. And so I always like to ask, and everyone's always interested to know, how are you using generative AI? Are you using generative AI? So tell us about, or do we have to use generative AI? Because as we were saying, law is cautious, right? At least for adopting new technology. Talk a little bit about the Copilot integration or Copilot availability within AllRize.
So really now Copilot is infused in all Microsoft 365 applications, Outlook, Word, Excel, and AllRize is no different. SharePoint, for example, and we use SharePoint as our document management system. If you go with our document management module, and you can do things as talking to all your documents, whether it be one case, the model will be trained on all the documents in your SharePoint environment. You can ask it questions, and whether it's asking questions for a specific case, when it comes up, everything that comes up comes up with citations so that you can see it's not hallucinating deal. And I think that's really powerful. Even if you're saying, okay, find me a similar case that you're working on a case now, find me a similar document that could be useful here. It'll find that, give you citations, easily access those kinds of things. And I'll show a little bit about that in the demo. But then we can also draft emails and summarize information. It's fully integrated with Teams. AllRize is fully integrated with Teams, so you can make phone calls directly from AllRize and handle meetings directly from within AllRize. The meetings can be recorded, transcripted, and played back. And you could even, it gives you AI notes summarizing the meeting and takeaways from the meeting, including creating tasks based on somebody in the meeting said, oh, John, you need to do this, right? And then a task is automatically now in your Outlook calendar. So there's a lot of advanced things that we can do. And that's just getting better and better. As Microsoft is releasing all this stuff, our stuff is improving along the way as well. And something that you did mention I thought was really good. You don't have to use Copilot. It's the same thing when you're in Outlook and you're in Teams, Copilot is there, but not everybody uses it. So you can adopt the AI Copilot part of AllRize at your own pace, right? If you want to take advantage of all these things, let's do it, right? And if you're not there yet and your firm is saying, okay, we're not ready for AI, then it can be shut off very easily and you don't have to use it. That was also really important to us. And also part of the hesitation with AI is security. That's another reason that we're able to take advantage of Microsoft 365, because all of the security settings and everything that's set up per roles, that gets inherited into AllRize. So you don't have to now start creating some security layer and set all that up again, because it gets inherited straight from Microsoft 365. They have data governance available. We have records management, right? Setting retention rates and all of that stuff to make sure everything stays accurate, and making sure that your firm doesn't have a lot of liability with old files that probably shouldn't be kept around. Sometimes, whether it's 7 years, 10 years, depending upon the practice area, we can automatically either archive, or a lot of firms want to just say, no, it's a liability. We don't want it in our system anymore beyond the retention period. So there's a lot of flexibility in AllRize and in the architecture.
Nice. I guess my final question before we go into the demo is, who are your customers? Who people are going to be watching this and say, is AllRize for me? So who do you generally have as your customer base? Who do you think benefits the most from AllRize?
I think all firms can benefit from AllRize. I think it makes the most sense probably if you're at least 10 users, but really the larger the firm, the more value you're going to get out of it. Let's put it that way. It's built on enterprise technology. That's where I come from originally. And so it's extremely important to me that everything is scalable to the largest companies in the world, the largest firms in the world. And we've accomplished that. Ideally, mid-market is probably where we're marketing to the most, but ultimately this could be something that's leveraged by the largest law firms, and even legal departments, corporations is also could benefit from the product.
Nice. All right, I'm excited to see it. Microsoft fangirl here, so I love to see how this all integrates and works together.
All right, so let's see here. Okay, can you see?
I sure can.
Okay, great. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, we hear the different modules that you have: CRM, matter management, document management, marketing, billing, which is also flows through to an accounting module with the GL. But just to give you a high-level overview of what's here, we implemented and designed AllRize specifically with a handful of tenant principles that we wanted to follow. One was automate everything that you can. Another was when you enter something into the system, it flows everywhere, meaning that you don't have to enter things in multiple times. So everything from one module, you can see it in the next module. And we also have, I think I was explaining earlier, how AllRize is a platform on top of Dynamics 365, and the different modules plug in on top of it. All the data is shared by the actual platform itself. So here you have CRM, accounts, contacts, and then the intake module is a part of the CRM. So you have leads coming in. It can automatically be connected to marketing campaigns. We have Google Ads integrations with, it's an open architecture, so we can really integrate with any marketing product, any of the social media platforms we also integrate with. So any leads coming in from any of that, from your website, automatically comes into AllRize. And then from the opportunities, you can then from here send out retainer agreements or anything that you want for a specific client to sign. And then once a client signs, now it goes to matter management, and from within matter management now it becomes a matter, and you can start tracking things. For each matter, there's a calendaring docket. You can automatically get deadlines from calendar rules that automatically apply based on whatever activities that you perform. And then also, I'll show you here. So everything in here, you can see that Copilot is fully enabled. So you can like chat with your data at any time.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
If I could jump in, the one thing I really like about this is there's that joke that lawyers say, I didn't go to law school to do math, as they really didn't go to law school to do data science. But data science is kind of one of those things that has become so important. And as a data nerd myself, the one thing I really like is what you were saying before, like you enter it once and then it goes through, then it's in the system. And so you don't have to worry about a mistyping or somehow some compromising your data when you're moving it between systems, because it's already in one system. And then now that, like this Copilot and all the fact that you are so integrated with Microsoft and built on top of a Microsoft product, and Copilot's already there, that is going to broaden so many people's horizons that they can talk to their data and they don't have to understand honestly what they're doing at the technical level.
That's a great point. Absolutely. So here I just went into the opportunities, and from here, so if you talked, because the leads, a lot of firms get a lot of leads in depending upon the practice area. So if you're getting a lot of leads in, a lot of them are, I don't want to say garbage, but a lot of them are, can be bots coming in from the website or things like that. Leads are ready to be qualified or disqualified. So you really want to focus on the opportunities, right? That's where you want to spend the most of your time, is the cases that you want. And I just opened up this opportunity here, and you see I opened it, just by opening it, Copilot has already given me a summary. Here's the contact record. You can go right to the contact record. It's saying that it's associated with other things. And this is a demo database. But as you can see, Copilot and Copilot's AI automatically is going to provide you with a good amount of information. Here, this is Copilot as well. So here you click on this highlights and it automatically opens, gives you a summary of the timeline of all what's going on. So it reads the timeline. So in here you can send emails, you can schedule Teams meetings, you can make phone calls, you can schedule tasks. There's a ton of things that you can do right here. And every time you do that, you can create notes. And right from here, everything is available to Copilot. So it will then come in. There could be email, there could be, if a case is open for a year, you can have thousands of emails and thousands of notes in here, and it will summarize all of that, give you the most current things. You can ask it questions. Really powerful in regard to once you get really into a matter, right? So when you close this, you have the ability to, right from then here, send out a retainer agreement. And then here we call it intake form, but you can create as many as you want. And all of that is easy to drag and drop, creating forms. And then once the retainer agreement is signed, so it'll send it when it's signed. We talked about automation earlier. It's going to automatically recognize, okay, retainer agreement is signed. It's going to save it in the data management solution, whichever one you use. It comes with SharePoint out of the box for document management, but you can use other ones to plug it in directly in there. And then it creates the matters automatically. And then right from here, now I'm going to Copilot. And then right from here, you have a matter. And then right from here, all that information that was collected, this is a different matter because the other opportunity wasn't closed, but you can automatically see the matter and all of that data, like I talked about, that was collected during the intake process is automatically right here because it's stored in that foundational platform layer. And then once you're in the matter, everything has the same thing. So here, right, we're looking at this highlights and right away it's telling you, oh, there's a trial date that's been set for April 16th. That wasn't added. That's Copilot reading all of the notes and then automatically giving you what it feels is the most important information.
It's like such a dashboard that you, because I think right when I started technology and getting into technology, dashboards, everyone had a dashboard. And it was basically just a bunch of circle graphs. There's only so many graphs you can look at. You just kind of lose.
Now you can talk to your data like it's a human. Right. And for me, that's been the biggest mind shift of taking advantage of AI, is because it's not natural to talk to the computer like a human. But sure. Once you make that shift and you really take advantage of it, it's so powerful.
Yeah, I think for me, that was a very similar thing. It was the idea of delegating, because I do everything myself. And it was like, I don't delegate well to humans, and delegate. It wasn't the fact that it's a computer. I just don't delegate because I'm a control freak. But once you learn to do that, it really is amazing. And the barrier of just being able to, you don't have to be a techie. You can just talk to your data and it will help. You don't have to do a formula. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And once you're in a matter, depending upon what we call case and case subtype, these are all configurable tabs. So, something that you're going to need to keep track of for a criminal defense case is going to be different from a personal injury case, that kind of stuff. Like for personal injury, you might have damages and all the other things. It's all configurable to match by case type, subtype, what kind of information that you want to collect. And there's a lot of different other things here that we can turn on and off depending upon the case type. And then something else I wanted to show you was everything is fully integrated with the Microsoft 365 and Dynamics 365. So the goal there is to take advantage of all these different apps, if you will, all in one place, right? So you're going to Word, you're going to Planner potentially, and Teams. The goal here is to pull all of that into one place. So here you can create automatically a plan inside of Planner and keep track of tasks that way. You can also, you have Teams right here where you can chat directly with anyone in the company or anywhere somebody has access to Teams. And then right from here, it ties it to a specific matter. And then it also saves the chats, if you want it to, in the timeline as well. So these chats aren't like existing, oh, now I got to go find this chat that I had about this matter. Could be, so you got to go into Teams and start searching. No, it's all right here, front and center.
Great.
And then something else is with Teams that, let me show you here. So here you can even call right directly from here, right? So if you're so there's a dialer right within AllRize, and you can dial out, it'll record the meetings if you wanted to, take notes, save it to the matter. Yeah, very tightly integrated with all the Microsoft 365.
That was also one of the things that it's so hard and in practice and just in life, just if you are someone who has to be responsible for your time and how you spent your time and report out your time, the fact that this kind of can almost run in the background and then you can go back and say like, okay, I called that, I did these. It's all your records are right there for your billing and timekeeping and understanding like who you did for what you did for who in the past few days.
Yeah, for me, and it's not only this, there's a lot on the back end that also ties into this from Microsoft 365, something a lot of people don't think about, right? You're setting security, you're setting permissions on if you're using OneDrive, if you're using SharePoint, all of those security options flow right into here, are inherited from that. Right? So you don't have to do that again. So if you use Microsoft 365, we just set this up and it uses everything that you've already set up and been taken advantage of for Microsoft 365. You can do data governance from within here based on the Microsoft 365. You can do records management in here, setting in your documents, setting, what's it called, retention dates or retention rates, things like that. So like after 7 years, do you want to start deleting or archiving specific matters that you don't need to save anymore, which could potentially be a liability to the firm? All that stuff can automatically done, and it's all taken care of with Microsoft technology. And something else I wanted to show you was the document management. In here, you have document management. You can use our document management solution, which is built on top of, or you can use anything else that you want. If you use another document management solution, we can plug it into here as well. So here, I'll give you an example of what you can do with this. So now you're in a particular matter here, right? And this is showing you all the documents for a particular matter. Now, this is a demo system, so we have 4 documents, but you can have thousands of documents in here. And what you can do is you can click on create an agent, right? This is going to say it's creating an agent just for the documents in this matter. You're going to open the agent, and then that's all it took. Now, right from here, you can talk to all your documents and find whatever you want inside of the documents. You can do this at the matter level. You can also do it at the practice area level. So let's say at the practice area level, you have an agent that knows all about all the documents in a particular practice area. So let's say you're looking for a document that's similar to something that you're doing now. Then you just talk to it and it'll ask it to find one, and it'll give you options and notations and everything. Really powerful. Yeah, this is one of the more recent features, and I'm sure everybody's talking about, you hear everybody's talking about AI agents. This is one example of that.
It's a very cool, because again, you always build upon what you've done before, just want to reference, or like when you did either similar matter, or you're before the same court, just to figure out what happened and go back, that you just build upon your previous work and do it in the chat format too, and find out through that way and not have to just search through files and read it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then here also, this is something else, classify and extract. So here you have the ability to also build models. So when documents are being uploaded, you can classify things just by the Copilot reading and understanding what the document is. You can extract data from forms and things like that. All kinds of stuff you can do with Copilot from that perspective.
That's very cool.
Also, this is something that was recently added, the presses here. Typically, when you think about document management or any kind of data management, when you're searching for something, most of the time you have the filters, right? So it's okay, look at the case type, drop down and choose something there. Look at another drop down, pick something, and you're filtering down. What we have available now is you can actually say find. There's not a lot of data in here, so it's not going to be that. But imagine there's thousands of cases in here. And instead of having to look at filters and things, you could just say, find criminal defense matters. I think we only have one here, but it'll come back with this one. But the whole point is that the system understands the human language, right? So you can ask it any kind of question that you want, that you're trying to find, and it's going to come back and give you anything that meets that criteria. And this is Copilot. This little icon is Copilot, so it's Copilot enabled, powered, if you will. So then here, this gives you back your result, you can come in here and just save it as a new view.
Nice.
And so then now it's always available. So that same search that it did is always going to be available. Then from there, you can share this with right off the bat, their what's it called? They're user specific. So if you create a view, it's only you're going to see it, but you can easily share it to others in your team or others within the law firm that have access to those matters. And then they'll see it in their drop down. So there's a lot of, so you can see how powerful that could be used in everyday activities.
That's very, very neat. This is, I kind of wish I had an excuse to use a tool like this. I was wondering, can I get a demo version just to use in my daily life, especially just the organizing the notes and the workflow?
Yeah, and you mentioned dashboards earlier. We still have dashboards that you can also talk to, but we have dashboards for every role, whether you're in intake. So there's some intake dashboards, matter management dashboards. If you're in accounting, there's some accounting dashboards. And even we also have an app that for executives. So if you're making the business decisions for the law firm and you need to have that 50,000 foot view, but with the ability to drill down to the details so you can make decisions based off of data and not just shooting from the hip, if you will. That's the ultimate goal of AllRize. But yeah, that's AllRize.
It was very enjoyable. Thank you. I mean, I really do see this as a very, if you've been wanting to try AI, if you've been scared to try AI, this is a very easy way into starting to use AI to enhance your practice and enhance your firm operations, because it just is all pretty much turnkey.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because something that I also wanted to say was everything is Copilot and AI enabled, but you don't have to use it, right? You can turn it off. You can turn it on. You can ease into it, because there are a lot of firms right now that are just like, all right, we don't know enough about AI, and it's like strict policy. Nobody's allowed to use AI, right?
Yeah.
And for those firms, that's fine. You can turn off the AI capabilities, even though, look, it is very safe. It's on Microsoft architecture and they save everything in your tenant for your enterprise. Nothing goes outside of that. However, you don't have to use it, or you can get it. And what I always say is you want to future-proof your firm with the technology that you get. You don't want to get a technology and say, okay, now let's build AI. And I'm like, oh, we can't use AI. So yeah, at the very least, you want to make sure that you are getting something that is fully enabled with AI. So when you are ready, which let's be honest, everyone's going to eventually use it. When they are ready and you do have the policies in place and you go through some type of an implementation, you can start turning these things on when you're ready at your pace.
Yeah, that's true. And that's like a good theme for all of AllRize, that it's very modular and it's just take what you need and then you can always build later. And that future proofing, that's a good word for it, that it's here if you need it. But if you don't need it or don't want it just yet, that's okay too.
Right, exactly.
Thank you so much. This was very enjoyable. Again, my name is Sarah Glassmeyer. I am the Director of Data Curation for Legal Tech Hub. Thank you for joining us for another product briefing, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.